seem, we're going to start today by talking about endangered species. And these are ones that are threatened by imminent extinction. Those that are losing their habitat, losing their feeding grounds, their feeding source. And this is occurring more often than you might think. Those that are going down, or those that are suffering, are being lost really every year. And one that I'd like to tell you a story about is from a zoo down in New Zealand, or I'm sorry, Australia. The specific island is Tasmania, and it's Hobart Zoo. And this was a creature that was really amazing. A marsupial predator, fast as you can imagine, could jump, and absolutely gorgeous. Had this yellow-orange skin and black stripes, and even the cutest name ever, Little Benjamin. Everybody would love that, to just go up and see Little Benji. But unfortunately, this was Benji, and he was the last thylacine, the last Tasmanian tiger, Tasmanian wolf. He died in 1936, and that was only 2 months after laws had been instated to protect his species, meaning they had been dying out for years before anybody acted. Now, he was, of course, in captivity, and I say he, but he was one of 3, the survivors. So Benjamin very well could have been the little sister, but at the time, nobody knew. No autopsy was performed. And as you can see from the stripes on the back, this is how he got the name Tasmanian tiger, but really they're more closely related to kangaroos, koala bears, Tasmanian devils than they are to the big cats. These are the 2 laws that were brought in eventually to help us protect these species internationally. There's CITES, which was the very first one, and it was agreed upon in 1963, but not set into law until 1973 because of international hiccups, a lot of red tape. A lot of countries don't have the same attitudes or even laws to protect these species. Some just didn't care. So it took 10 years to get that passed, but as soon as it was passed internationally, the Endangered Species Act was signed into law by Congress and President Nixon in 1973. And that's what protects species on American soil. As you can see, these are the real tigers. And I bring them up because they are one of the most threatened species on the planet. Even the most populous breed, which is the Bengal tiger, the one you'll see on the right, there's only about 2,000 of them left in the world. And they're the most populous of the subspecies of tigers. The other species are Balinese, Caspian, Indo-Chinese, Javan, Malayan, Siberian, Sumatran, and the South China tiger. Now, everyone except for the Bengal tiger, their numbers are less than 500. And for 3 of them, the Javan, Caspian, and Balinese tigers, they're gone. No hope of bringing any one of those 3 back. This is because of a lot of cultural issues. Aside from hunting and deforestation, we have problems where people don't really regard these creatures as real. They remove their humanity and they bring them to more of an otherworldly identity. They talk about them as godlike, mystical. You see this a lot in China, India, Japan. In China, as you can see by this illustration here, they're actually given the same reverence as dragons. Tigers, which we can see anywhere every day, just pull up a picture, and dragons, which I swear to you, after all research, do not exist, never have, never will. And the problem with that is, when you think of something as godly or godlike, some people are ignorant enough to think that they can be imbued with those powers themselves. And in Chinese medicine and areas around there, it's actually thought that imbibing the bones or blood of a tiger can actually give you strength, virility, longer life. And so, to this day, you'll still see tiger bones sold on the black market to people that are looking to get a better life for themselves. These are two other creatures that suffer from very similar fates. This is an elephant. You can see it's an African elephant by the size of its ears, and that's a black rhinoceros. These creatures are hunted almost every day in Africa. And people have really Africa and Asia, excuse me. And people have really had to step up their efforts to try and save them because numbers dipped incredibly low. While hunting and poaching has gone down, you're looking at stronger numbers than with any other animal. And most of the time this is because of their horns. Their horns are traded just like the tiger bones I talked about. Now, elephant horns, we've heard, contain ivory, which is true. And that's still a rare material that's tradable. And that's why they need to be protected so severely, because that's never going to change. That's part of their makeup. But rhino, actually, while it was thought that their horns contained ivory, their horns are made of keratin, which is the same material as your hair and fingernails. So not only were they being hunted for ivory they didn't have, but they were still being killed for their horns, which people felt would make them stronger. So this ignorance has led to far too many deaths, including the western black rhino, who I showed you earlier, which went extinct in 2011. I had no idea. It barely made a ripple on the news, but we'll never see them again, even in captivity. These are the critically endangered species, which is defined as species that are at the most severe level of imminent threat for extinction. The next step is that they go extinct in the wild, and if there's none in zoos, we lose them forever. As you can see, these are 16 of them right there. I'm going to talk to you about 3 that are in very real need for help. The first are the mountain and cross river gorillas. As you can see, they're two very different species. You can see that in the face and the size that they grow to. Mountain gorillas grow much larger than cross river gorillas. But deforestation and hunting have brought their populations down to the mid to low hundreds. 700 for the mountain gorilla and 300 for the cross river gorilla. Then we go on to the Amur leopard, a perfect example of evolution. This thing can do amazing things. It can jump 10 feet in the air, 20 feet straight ahead. It is an incredible predator and an absolutely beautiful animal. But as you can see from the note down here at the bottom, according to the World Wildlife Fund, there are only 40 of them. If we lost one a week, they'd still be gone in a year. And then we go on to probably the saddest case, the northern white rhinoceros. The best we can hope for from this is that there's 22 left in the world, but what we know from zoos where they're kept is that there are 10. And these are so rare that even in California and the Czech Republic, where obviously we don't have much trouble with poaching, these animals are considered so rare that their hides are worth more than you can imagine, and they have to have armed guards posted with them at all times, even in the zoo. So what I'm hoping to let you know is that while things are bad, they can get a lot better. And here are 2 amazing examples of that, because in America, what we've done well is learn from our mistakes, and we've had some wonderful conservation efforts to help boost the numbers of these amazing creatures. The California condor, the population got down to 130, and this is the 2nd largest predatory bird in the world. Very rare and a very important scientific find, but thanks to some new breeding programs, we've finally gotten their numbers to rise. And the American buffalo, or bison, everybody has heard the story about how they were hunted to extinction during the westward expansion of the United States. But we've been able to bring them up to 19,000 plains buffalo, or bison, and 11,000 in the woods. So from near dead, we've brought them up to 30,000. That's an incredible success story and something that we should be very proud of. And one more thing that we can be proud of is what we're doing for the African elephant. Now, as much as they've been hurting, there have been international efforts from private donors and nations like Kenya and the Congo that have set up wonderful preserves for them and have brought their numbers to between 470 and 690,000. I'd love to give you more clear numbers, but it's a wide range and they're just not available. And the reason I wanted to end with those three is to convey not so much the doom and gloom that the reality of the numbers can bring up, but the sense of hope. Because if we push on with more serious efforts like these and take these things seriously, then we can bring these creatures back, or at least give them a fighting chance. And I've donated before. I'm not sure if you'd be interested, but if you are, if you want to help, just even to do research, you can go to the World Wildlife Fund, or the American site is the National Wildlife Federation, or even if you want to think about doing something more locally, your local animal hospital is always looking for volunteers. And thank you all very much for listening.